That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, hear me out. Most of y'all are not going to enjoy this video. I'm going to talk about two players that some people really like, and I understand why. I mean, they're extremely fun to watch on Sundays, but the thing is, like I say all the time, we are not building an NFL team. We are not running real teams. We are out here trying to get fantasy points, and fantasy is just what it is. It's fake. These points are like arbitrary. Does not necessarily matter the exact talents of these players. And by no means am I saying these guys are not talented running backs. I mean, in the right situation, I believe that they could each be some of the best running backs in the NFL. That's just the nature of the position. But we have to understand, when we look at this position in dynasty fantasy football, we are looking at a situation, we are looking at projections, and we are trying to get the guys that have a range of outcome to go in there and be a running back one for us. And these two guys, I just don't see it with. And I think I would much rather pivot from them to someone else that I believe has the potential to win your league. I mean, that's our saying here pretty much. We are going after league winners. We're not going after guys to simply beat their ADP, because if every guy you draft beats his ADP by a range of outcomes of 5%, you know what you're going to do? You're going to have a very good fantasy team. You're going to make the playoffs, most likely lose week 15, maybe week 16. But you're not going to win. You have to get these guys. You have to get the James Conner whenever Le'Veon Bell sits out. You have to go out there and get the David Johnson the year he breaks out. You have to get these league winners, or you really have no shot. So this first guy I'm going to talk about is Devin Singletary. Yes, I know Devin Singletary has seen his value fall significantly throughout this offseason. I remember my first startup of the offseason, a guy that I really respect ended up taking Devin Singletary at the very beginning of the 4th round of a dynasty startup draft. Yes, it was RB Premium, but that does not necessarily really mean a whole lot to the situation. We have to understand that it does not matter that Devin Singletary's value has consistently been going down all offseason, because it has not reached where it's supposed to be yet. And let me get into why. So if I'm going to go over Devin Singletary, let me talk about what's wrong with him. And to do that, I'm also going to talk about what he does well, because I'm trying to be fair here. I'm trying to be objective. And a couple things on the Devin Singletary prospect profile box check out that he should be a good dynasty asset. So he's going to be 23 when the season starts. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, he has age on his side, something that's so important for the running back position. Another thing that is extremely important for the running back position is draft capital and the rookie contract situation. Devin Singletary is only going into his sophomore year, so he has a good amount of time left on that rookie deal, so he's going to be a stable asset, and he has good draft capital being selected at the beginning of the 3rd round. So all of these things check out, say, hey, Devin Singletary should be a valuable running back in Dynasty. Until we look at the full picture, until you realize that Devin Singletary is 203 pounds, he runs a 4.66 40, which puts him at a 15th percentile size adjusted speed score. And I know a lot of people are just saying, I mean, those are just numbers. They're kind of meaningless. Mason, go watch the tape, you nerd. But guys, we have to understand here, size adjusted speed score for the running back position is significant. It really correlates to fantasy success. And to do this, I just pulled up some very simple numbers. I'm going to go through the top 24 running backs in terms of points per game that were under the 50th percentile size adjusted speed score mark. So keep in mind, this is significantly higher of a mark than where Devin Singletary is. But I'm trying to paint a full picture, and if I put the mark too low, if I put it at a 30% cutoff or a 35% cutoff, there's not going to be a single guy. So I want to paint the full picture and try to get y'all to understand why this statistic is so important. So we're going to cut it off at 50%. So half the running backs in the league have this size adjusted speed score mark. And let's start it off with the number 3 running back in terms of points per game in 2019, which, I mean, we're starting all the way at the top pretty much. And this guy has a 48th percentile size adjusted speed score, so pretty much right on average. And this is Aaron Jones. And while evaluating Aaron Jones' 2019 season, we have to understand, yes, it was spectacular. Yes, Aaron Jones was actually one of those guys that went out there and won people fantasy championships, which is what we look for. And y'all may be saying, Mason, you're being a hypocrite here. Why are you saying that Aaron Jones can do it when Devin Singletary can't? First of all, Devin Singletary is sitting at 15%. Aaron Jones is almost at 50%. And in 2019, Aaron Jones' season was an extreme outlier. He almost scored 20 touchdowns. I believe he led the NFL in terms of rushing TDs, even though he is a committee running back if you look at the splits. So Aaron Jones with his 19 touchdown season in Green Bay, I mean, that's something you cannot project, and it's understandable why it happened on the Green Bay Packers offense. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be rushing for touchdowns, and this is going to be a high volume offense year over year. So Aaron Jones was in a perfect situation, even though he did not necessarily have the size adjusted athleticism to do so. And we have to understand that this is in some range of outcomes, but this is not the situation that Devin Singletary is in, and I will get into that at the end of the video. Now let's go to the next guy, who was a 42nd percentile size adjusted athlete, and this is Mark Ingram. Similar story with Aaron Jones. He ran extremely hot and got very lucky variance. He had 15 total touchdowns in 2019. Now let's go to Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt's a different story. I know a lot of people want to argue and say Kareem Hunt's one of the best running backs in terms of talent in the NFL. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not going to try to make those arguments, because I think guys who come on videos, go on podcasts, and will argue about that for 30 minutes, really wasting everyone's time. I mean, it's not necessarily going to matter at the end of the day. And Kareem Hunt, the reason that he was able to actually hit up here with this mark, even though he does not necessarily has the size adjusted athleticism, is because he is an elite pass catching running back in reference to his 5 receptions a game in 2019. That's something you cannot really expect for Devin Singletary for reasons I'll get in later in the video. Now, James White with the 40th percentile size adjusted athleticism was also top 24. And we have to understand James White hit 5 receptions a game in 2019, something we cannot expect for Devin Singletary. So keep in mind, there were only 4 running backs that were under the 50th percentile mark of size adjusted athleticism, and Devin Singletary is at 15%, significantly lower than the small sample size of guys that got lucky with variance to hit this mark in 2019. And yeah, this is why Devin Singletary should not be valued where he is in Dynasty right now. And let's go into and let's actually look at Devin Singletary in the Buffalo Bills situation, because I referenced at the beginning of the video, this is extremely important while evaluating these players. In 2019, Devin Singletary's rookie year, so keep in mind, you can obviously expect Devin Singletary to progress. He's not going to cap out on talent his rookie season, but he averaged 12.5 rushes a game, 3.5 receptions a game, almost 100 rushing yards a game, and 4 total touchdowns. So this is why Devin Singletary has his fans out there. This is why people go out there and reply to my tweets saying, hey Mason, Devin Singletary is good. I don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, Devin Singletary can easily be a good rusher of the football. He may be able to make defenders miss. He may be able to break runs off that most running backs would not be able to. But that's not the argument here we're making. So I'm not going to say Devin Singletary is a bad running back, but what I am going to say is the Buffalo Bills do not want to give a smaller Devin Singletary a full-on workload just because of his frame. And we see this with them going out there and giving pretty much dead Frank Gore over 10.5 rushes a game, while he was only accumulating 37 rushing yards a game with that volume, and Frank Gore himself got no touchdowns. He saw 2 total touchdowns, and this is the reason that I don't believe that Devin Singletary can pull an Aaron Jones. It's because Josh Allen is there. Josh Allen averaged 7 rushes a game and had 9 total touchdowns in 2019 rushing the football. This is something that you do not want to see for a running back. This is what Cam Newton was in his prime, taking touches away from the running backs there and taking touchdowns away from the running backs there. And we have to understand, if Devin Singletary is not going to get 20 rushes a game, if he's not going to get over 5 receptions a game, we can't expect him to be a top-end fantasy running back. I don't even think in his 90th percentile outcome, he's going to be a low-end RB1, high-end RB2. I don't think that's in the range of outcomes for him. I see him as a very steady high-end running back 3 in Dynasty, and this is because the addition of Zach Moss. If Frank Gore left and nobody else was there, just TJ Yeldon and Devin Singletary, I completely understand being excited about Devin Singletary. But like I was saying with the Los Angeles Rams video and Cooper Kupp, team actions speak volumes, especially at this point in the offseason when we have nothing else to work off of. And they bring in Zach Moss, who's 223 pounds. He has a 46 percentile size adjusted speed score, which for Zach Moss, in my opinion, is not necessarily that big of a deal, because I put him in a very similar bucket to Devin Singletary. I believe that this backfield is going to be a split backfield with Josh Allen stealing rushing touchdowns. And what's even funnier is Zach Moss can catch the ball. I know a lot of people kind of peg him as a goal line back just because of his size, but no, Zach Moss is pretty much much the exact same as Devin Singletary all the way around. Maybe he's a slightly worse rusher of the football, but he is bigger and he is faster than Devin Singletary. So I'm expecting this backfield to be split. I'm expecting Josh Allen to get the majority of fantasy production in terms of touchdown rushes. So tell me right now why in some dynasty drafts, Devin Singletary is being drafted ahead of Kareem Hunt, who in my opinion, Kareem Hunt has a similar floor to Devin Singletary because of his receiving work. And we know if anything happens to Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt is one of these guys that can go and win you your league. It doesn't really matter if Zach Moss gets hurt. Devin Singletary is not going to come over and be a high-end RB1. At best, I believe he's going to be in the RB13, RB14 range, and he does not have that league-winning upside, even if things break right for him. Now, similar to Kareem Hunt, Devin Singletary is going ahead of Melvin Gordon, James Conner, Alexander Madison, Raheem Mostert. I mean, all of these running backs have question marks on their profiles. None of them really profile to be a fantasy impact player longer than Devin Singletary. But my argue is I would much rather have a guy who has the potential to be a high-end RB1 for one season rather than having a guy that has the potential of being a high-end RB3 for 3 seasons. And that's where I'm not rostering Devin Singletary in any leagues because I don't believe he has the upside and I don't believe that he can win you your championship. Now, let's go to our second running back, and this is going to hurt. I've loved this guy's talent, and like I said earlier, Devin Singletary, extremely talented running back. Derrius Guice, even better than him. Derrius Guice is a fantastic running back when he's on the field. Explosive, fun guy to root for. I mean, we all want to see Derrius Guice do well. But the fact is, I mean, he cannot stay healthy. And I believe that the Washington Redskins know this. Their medical staff knows this, and this is what they're telling their front office. Because, like I said with the Cooper Kupp video, we have to understand, we have to watch these front offices and see what decisions they're making because they know more about these players than we do. And I'm sorry to say that. I know it's really fun to speculate. I know it's really fun to go on Twitter, watch clips, and try to gauge where a player is, try to gauge what he's going to do the upcoming season. But the team he plays on, they know most likely more than we do. And I don't know what they're seeing with Derrius Guice, but what I'm seeing is they go out there and they take Bryce Love at the very beginning of the 4th round while Bryce Love was injured. So keep in mind, this is not necessarily fantastic draft capital, but it is draft capital into an injured asset, which the NFL rarely does. But then they go out there in this offseason, they sign J.D. McKissic, who is a strictly passing down running back. They do lose Chris Thompson, so that kind of fills that role. And they go out there, and the most polarizing thing of all is they sign Peyton Barber. So if they believed in Derrius Guice, why are they going out there signing grinder running back, some guy who's not special whatsoever, and every single person, including the Washington Redskins, know this, in Peyton Barber, in considering that they already have Adrian Peterson on the roster? Now, I'm not done. They go out there, and not only do they sign J.D. McKissic, not only do they draft Bryce Love in the early 4th round last year, not only do they go out there and sign grinder running back Peyton Barber, they go out there and they draft Antonio Gibson with the 2nd pick in the 3rd round of this year's draft. And what this tells me is this front office was looking at the running back room. They don't believe in Derrius Guice after Derrius Guice tears his ACL in 2018, tears his meniscus in 2019, and then right while he comes back, he has an MCL sprain in 2019, can't get on the field, and this is a running back that fell in the NFL draft due to his medical evaluations coming out of college. So if it would be different, if Derrius Guice had these injuries and the team did not go out there and significantly invest into the position every opportunity that they got, I could understand the Derrius Guice value. But where he is now, I can't put any faith into them as the Washington Redskins don't. And even if he gets on the field, what is the ultimate upside with Derrius Guice? He's not going to catch passes with Antonio Gibson there. Antonio Gibson, I know I've sent out a couple tweets lately hyping him up and saying that he has a David Johnson type ceiling. Obviously, you don't expect that to be the 50th percentile outcome for Antonio Gibson, but we have to understand that J.D. McKissic and Antonio Gibson are going to be getting 3rd down work no matter if Derrius Guice can stay healthy for 16 games. So why am I going to go out there? Why am I going to invest significantly, even if it's at a discount compared to where he was a couple of years ago, after the team has showed on multiple occasions They don't believe in him. Even if he finds a way to stay healthy, they're not going to use him with a full workload. And if he finds a way to stay healthy, plays all 16 games, do you really believe that you're going to be able to go out there and trade Darius Guice at a massive profit? You don't think that people in dynasty circles are going to be saying, oh yeah, he stayed healthy in 2019. In 2020. I think we should expect that in 2021. That's not how it works. Guys are still going to be low on Darius Guice. You're not going to get a massive return on any type of investment right now, regardless of the price. And now let's talk about where that price exactly is. And right now, Darius Guice is going ahead of Raheem Mostert. And y'all know I'm not a massive fan of Raheem Mostert by any means, but there is a path to him having opportunity a lot sooner than Darius Guice, playing on a better offense than Darius Guice. Even though he's a little bit older, Darius Guice has the injuries where who is to say whose career lasts longer at this point between Raheem Mostert and Darius Guice? It's kind of laughable if you look at the two situations, regardless of the running back talent, that Darius Guice would ever go ahead of Raheem Mostert in Dynasty. Another guy that Darius Guice is going ahead of that I don't understand whatsoever is Alexander Mattison. Yes, Darius Guice, most likely, his median outcome, his median projection in 2020, he's going to score more fantasy points than Alexander Mattison. But are we really playing with median outcomes here? Are we really looking at median projections and making dynasty evaluations and dynasty decisions based on that? I don't think we should be. I think we should be looking at a range of outcomes. And in Alexander Mattison's range of outcomes, he has top 5 dynasty running back points scored in 2020. So that's going to be the guy that I'm going out there and getting, especially if they end up trading Dalvin Cook. If they let Dalvin Cook walk, what is Alexander Mattison's value? He's a guy that can skyrocket to the second round of startup drafts, where even if Darius Guice comes on, say Darius Guice plays a whole 16 games, he gets first and second down work, he rushes for 1,200 yards and catches 15 balls. What's his value? He's going to shoot up to be a 4th round dynasty startup pick at best. I'm way rather have Alexander Mattison, and I honestly would rather have Tony Pollard over Darius Guice, which is laughable to say, but this is where it comes into effect. If you have Darius Guice in Dynasty, go up to the Tony Pollard owner, especially if you have not had your rookie draft. Try to trade Darius Guice for Tony Pollard in a 2nd round pick. That's a move that I would make every single day because you're kind of hedging your bets, especially if you get that rookie pick on it, where maybe that rookie pick turns out to be better than Darius Guice ever was. And if not, the minute that Zeke goes down, you have an RB1 in your back pocket. We've seen the talent with Tony Pollard. We know his situation, and you're going to know when to start him and not. So thanks, guys. Really hope y'all enjoyed the video. Most likely y'all didn't. I know a lot of people like these guys for good reason. They are fun to watch. But yeah, as always, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it, and make sure you drop a like. Thanks, guys.